Hi everybody, it's Julia, your trusted travel expert, helping you find that je ne sais quoi wherever you are in the world. And one of the things that people are really sometimes reluctant to do is travel with kids. And finding a je ne sais quoi of anywhere with a bunch of kids in tow might seem like a nightmare to some people or might seem a little bit difficult, but it's not. And I wanted to give you a couple tips to help you find out how that can work better. So the first thing is that you have to realize that kids are not always, they don't have as much stamina as adults do, and they don't also appreciate all the maybe history and cultural nuances that, we as adults would get. And so there are two things with that you really have to take into consideration. The first being the amount of time you plan kind of between rest periods or snacks or eating. You really only want to plan kind of 2 to 3 to maybe 4 hour time periods. And again, this depends on the age of your kids. So instead of planning like an 8-hour bus trip somewhere, leave that aside. Just do 2 or 3 hour stints at a time, one activity at a time before you break for lunch or break for a snack or something like that. The other thing that you want to do, and this goes back to one of my favorite tips that I always suggest, and that's to do an activity. For example, there are lots of examples. For example, I'm in London, as you can tell. Westminster Abbey is just next to me, and I just went to a service, a little evensong service, so that the kids that I was with could still see the church, but they don't care about all that magnificent history that's in there. They would have gotten kind of bored looking at all the different tombs and everything like that. But they got to sit and listen to choir music and rest their feet a little bit, and it was a nice quiet activity that I hope they'll really remember. This whole trip is all about different activities. Every day we've done something cool and active that is more interactive for the kids. We went bike riding through a park and still learned some history and saw some really cool stuff, but it was around an activity. We went on a Thames boat ride, but not just a boring, sedate, slow ride down the river. We went on a speedboat, so it was a lot of fun and an adventure, but they still saw the city, saw different monuments, learned a little bit, but again, in a little bit more of a fun environment. Scavenger hunt in a museum. We're going to do that tomorrow or the next day. We also did a cool kind of scavenger hunt kind of a thing through Mayfair. So again, we weren't really learning any history, but we were seeing London, seeing the really heart of London, all the really neat, intricate back streets and little pub corners and secret gardens that London has to offer. So that's just two of the things that I really suggest to help travel with kids be a little bit more exciting. The last thing that I want to talk about is it's the eating. And you have to plan for meals. And you obviously don't want to plan for super exotic meals, but you do want to find the culture. And so what I want to encourage you to do is to not eat American. And I always say this as well, but kids are going to want chicken fingers and French fries and mac and cheese and burgers. But if you're not in America, that stuff is not as good. So what you want to try and do is go to a restaurant that's of the culture, a pub, something like that, and find something that has simple ingredients that kids can get behind, but that they will taste and that will actually taste good because it's of the actual culture they're in. That can be one of the most difficult things I know for traveling with kids, but one way you can help that is to go on an organized tour like I'm on. I'm on a Talc Bridges tour, and I've talked about these before because I've done them before with my family, and they're fantastic because they plan these active, sort of interactive activities for the kids. They do throw in history, and you do get a sense of the culture and the history and the gravitas of London that we're in right now and Paris that we're going to next. But a lot of the meals, not all of them, but a lot of the meals are sort of planned out and suggested for you, and they have sort of simple choices for the kids, pasta and red sauce, stuff like that. And it's just, I can't say enough good things about Talc Bridges. And I hope some of these tips helped encourage you to travel with kids, because sharing this with my nieces and nephews has been so exciting, and just seeing their faces light up when they learn something new that impresses them. It's really, really awesome, and I can't encourage you enough to do it. So let me know if you have any questions, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye.